I would start Ekitike, Chiesa and Gakpo. And those comments from the Bayern president struck a nerve with me. So what were the comments? I'd seen a couple of people mention them, but I haven't seen them yet. I seen somebody in our Discord mention them earlier on. I honestly haven't seen what the comments are, so I don't know. But I'm sure it's going to be something bitter, I'm guessing, about, I don't know, the likes of Wirtz, because they're still salty they didn't get him by the looks of it. So whatever the comments are, I'm sure they're going to be a little bit bitter, because that's all the comments that have been coming out of Bayern over the last few months have been. Right, so let's read what he has to say. Bayern honorary president Uli Hoeneß. I feel terrible sorry for Florian Wirtz. Everything went through him in Leverkusen. In Liverpool, he gets 5 passes and a half. If he loses the ball twice, he gets a bad rating. I don't know what else to say really about Uli Hoeneß, other than, you know, just forget about Florian Wirtz, because he said no and he came to Liverpool. He also said Slot promised Wirtz something that he's now clearly not keeping. Build a new team around him. Number 10 shirt. That was rubbish. He's got the number 7 shirt and the new team is clearly not playing around Wirtz. Let me just put this to bed. At no point was Florian Wirtz promised the number 10 shirt. He was promised the number 10 role. Big difference. So Uli Hoeneß needs to get his stupid little facts right before he comes out bitching and moaning about Liverpool again. He was promised the number 10 role, which he is now starting to fulfill. But let's not forget that it's important as well that he had to get used to the Premier League. He had to become accustomed to the Premier League's physicality. And as we know, Florian Wirtz has put on 2.5 kilo of solid muscle to try and build himself up. This is also from Uli Hoeneß. They spend 500 million and are having a disastrous season. In my opinion, that's because they only have superstars. They only have chiefs and no workers. I always say, at Liverpool, they'll soon have to play with 5 balls because the stars won't give up any of them. Poor Florian Wirtz, he doesn't even get the ball there because Salah and Szoboszlai and all the others want to play with their own. It's great that he knows so much about Liverpool, isn't it, Uli Hoeneß? You think he may focus on Bayern a little bit, but, you know, can't compete with the Premier League clubs. Got the floor wiped over at the Emirates. But, you know, leave him to it. It's just bitterness because they couldn't put together a package and a plan to sign Florian Wirtz. And he's only here a couple of months. So we'll ram these words back down his throat eventually. But look, they're called FC Hollywood for a reason. He should fucking remember that. We're not the ones called FC Hollywood. They are. Just stick to the bullshit and drama that's going on over there. It's easy to look good in a one-team league. It's easy to look good when you're the bully in the playground. So leave Liverpool stuff to us Liverpool fans and Liverpool to figure out. And Uli Hoeneß can just stay bitter. Derek Cannon said, Craig, let them talk about Wirtz. Wirtz will do his talking on the pitch. Exactly. You know, they had plenty of time to talk to Wirtz and sell him a plan. But they didn't. Tough shit. Potential to swap Wirtz for Elise if Wirtz flops. He's not going to flop. Like, is there anybody who genuinely thinks that Wirtz is going to flop? Because outside of opposition fans and maybe some journalists who may want him to fail because they don't want to see him succeed at Liverpool, I don't have any fears that he will. I think, you know, I see him getting better and better with each game. And, you know, against West Ham, that was without a doubt his best performance in a Liverpool shirt so far. So I don't have any fears about him flopping. Not at all. Are they still in need of tissues there in Bayern? I think they are, mate. I think that we might have to call the ambulance for them. Because they seem to talk about us more than they do about their own team at this point. And it's fucking embarrassing, isn't it? So, Florian Wirtz had a passing accuracy of 95% out there. That's incredible. It was the best passing accuracy on the pitch. Incredible. And I thought he just looked really, really good out there. We're going to talk tonight about what Uli Hoeneß said about too many superstars looking to be the guy. And you cannot have any egos anymore. You can't. Football's moved past people having egos. You have to be somebody that contributes to the team and is willing to share the ball around. And Wirtz was yesterday. Gakpo was. Isak was. You know, these guys were sharing the ball around. And I think we look better balanced for it. So, you know, if I'm being honest with you, this is the first season that I really feel I'm seeing a greedy Salah in performances. And it's greed out of desperation. Because, of course, he wants to make stuff happen. He wants to do it for the team. I'm not saying he's doing it for Salah. But he's taken that responsibility on his own shoulders too much, even when he's failing. and it's to the detriment of some others around him at time. Wirtz was arguably our best player against West Ham. He's a top-class player, so skillful on the ball. He is pure quality, in my opinion, said David. Without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. He was head and shoulders above anybody else out there on the pitch. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. The only black mark against him would have been that was a very weak shot. You know, when he was put into a decent position, I think was by, if I remember it correctly, there was a ball played over the top. Isak was challenging for it. The defender did a kind of weird dive for it, and it ricocheted into the path of Wirtz, and his shot was weak. Apart from that, I thought he was incredible. Wirtz makes us fun to watch. That says a lot. That's true. That's true. Look, I agree with a lot of people who think that a lot of the style under Arna has been quite boring. I agree with that. And I'll take boring if we're dominating and winning. You know, even if it is a style of football that I'd rather we were a little bit different. But boring and sketchy results, yeah, that's not going to cut it. Lee, how are we? Lee Jericho said, I'm not saying Wirtz is Messi, but I love to see him used in the way he did at Barcelona. I can only hope. But we are a team, just not individuals, though. But I don't think... Look, if we're talking about individuals and people trying to hog the ball a bit too much, I think we know where we're probably going with that conversation. And it isn't blaming it on Wirtz. You'd have to say, if anyone's hogged the ball this season, it's probably Mo. And look, I'll continue on being honest and saying what I feel about these situations and about a player, despite the Salah FC fanboys having a pop at me every 5 minutes. I don't care. I want what's best for the team, not what's best for any one individual. And every fibre of me believes that we should be building for the future now. And yes, Salah has a place in that, but a limited place. It's not a guaranteed starting place. He is now just another pawn in the manager's machine or in his game plan. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee a start every week, for my opinion. And, you know, we spent the money we did on the likes of Wirtz and Ekitike and Isak for good reason, because they're for the future. You know, you don't go and invest, 315 million quid between those three players without thinking that they are going to be the future. Honest opinion, would you take Marmoush if he left City? Rumours that he'd leave. I know he played for City, but the type of Salah Chelsea problem. 100%, Justin. I said it before he went to Man City. I would have loved Omar Marmoush, mate. I would have loved him at Liverpool, and I think we would have been a way better fit. So here's a question, actually. Let me end this poll because I don't want to distract you. So we asked preferred front three, and 87% of almost 1,500 votes said that they prefer Wirtz, Isak, Ekitike as the front three. That will be the favourite three.